Hello everyone. Thank you all for signing up for the February session of Virtual Mini Art. Here's the project we're working on today. I hope you all enjoy it. I had a lot of fun, especially since it's been a snowy week. I hope you also enjoy it. If any questions arise as you're working on your projects, feel free to either send me an email or type your question below the video. I'll do my best to answer it as soon as possible. Have fun, everyone. Okay, so let's get started. First, let's go through our materials. So everybody gets a canvas. This one here I've treated already with the Cameo Pink color. You can leave your canvas white if you want, or you can put this base on here. This just gives something for the paint to stick to. It gives a little bit of a nicer background for the sunset we're about to paint. So it's up to you as to whether or not you want to do that. And I've of course got a few brushes here, a couple of different ones, a couple different sizes. So I've got a bigger one, medium one, and then more of a detail brush. I've got a pencil. Just in case, I may or may not utilize that pencil. I found with this painting, it was easier to just paint it rather than draw anything, but it is your call. If you want to sort of make the horizon line here, you can. And of course, always have some paper towels and a cup of water. For this one, you want to make sure every time you rinse your brush that you dry it off very well. You want to have nice, thick paint for this project. All right, now the colors you're going to use are going to be white, black, summer sky, which is that light blue there. I have got pale daffodil, sunny day, flamingo coral, fuchsia, and light lavender. Alrighty. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I am going to use this medium-sized brush here, and I'm going to find the center of my canvas, and then I'm just going to go up a tiny bit, and I'm going to paint my sun right about there. I'm using that lighter yellow, the pale daffodil, and you want to place your brush and just turn your hand a little bit. If it's easier, you can also trace like a dime. That would also work, and then fill it in. But if you're patient, you can usually get it pretty symmetrical. So the trick is, rather than using your whole arm to move around, just use your fingers to twist, and that's kind of how you get a really nice circle. And you can also turn your canvas in different directions. Take a look at your design from different perspectives. There we go. All right, I think I'm happy with that. Okay. All right, I'm gonna give my brush a rinse. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to use our sunset colors in this order. Okay, so when we do some of our transitional colors, or we're going to basically mix these two and then move on to this one. So we start with this, then we mix them, then we use this one, then we mix these, then we use this one, mix these, then we use that one, mix those, and then we finish with that one. So I'll show you exactly what that means, but that just makes for a nice transition of colors. All right. And you don't have to go nuts, just sort of mix a little bit. You're basically trying to get a color that is a happy medium between these two. So for this one, it's about equal amounts of each color. Maybe a little more of the lighter one. There we go. And now you're going to go right on the outside of this circle. Okay, you want to kind of maintain even tension. so that you get equal, like an equal width of this stroke all around that circle. So as you can see, it is rather important to get that circle nice and symmetrical. That way, as you continue to move outward, those strokes remain symmetrical. All right, now let's just move right into this sunny day color. I'm gonna do one around here. This project requires a little bit of patience. Just take your time. There we go. Okay. Now you can see a little bit of variation in the colors there. Now if you want, right where these two strokes meet, right along that seam, I'm gonna call it. I'm just gonna run my brush right around it just to blend it a little bit. And there we go. Okay. Now we're gonna move into the orange a little bit. So I'm gonna take this sunny day, and we don't need a ton of this orange in here because we want it to gradually change. There we go. We go. So that's a nice color there. Okay. There we go. Feel free to turn your canvas too. I always do that. So that way you can get at the best angle. There we go. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing on that seam. Just run your brush right along that seam, just to blur the line a little bit further. There we go. So there's only a teeny bit of paint on there. There, you can sort of see how it's coming out really cute. Okay, just does take a little bit of patience. All right, I'm gonna go, I didn't rinse my brush or anything because that's fine to have a little bit of that color on there. Just lightening this ever so slightly with the paint that's on the brush. I'm gonna use that and go around another time. Just blurring that line a little bit. There we go. All right. Now we're gonna start adding a little bit of pink. Now for this part here, if you notice, it's right about at this point where on the bottom, we're probably gonna paint some snow. So what I'm going to do is, with this pink, I'm not gonna bring the pink stroke all the way down. All right, I'm just gonna keep it up here. So I'll show you, and that way we leave this part ready for our white. Okay, all right, same thing, mix a little bit of that pink and orange. All right, and switching over to plain pink. Oops. Okay, at this point I'm going to rinse my brush because I don't really want to mix orange and purple. That doesn't usually work out very well. Just want to mix the pink and purple. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. So there is my background. And you can make any adjustments you'd like to. After it dries a little bit, we can also add another coat if we feel like we need it. For some of these, I know my pink, my fuchsia is a little bit runny. So I could probably stand to put a little bit more there. But while I let this dry, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the snowy bottom here. All right, so the first thing I'll do is use some of my white. I'm also going to use this larger brush here. Okay, so just some straight white, and I'm just going to make, starting right from the bottom, make some horizontal strokes. And you might see a little bit of the pink peeking out from behind the snowy bottom if you chose to treat your canvas, which looks pretty, because then it's like the sun is reflecting like some of those colors off of the snow. There we go. Now, I'd like a slightly uneven horizon line, so that's why I'm leaving it that way. Now that all of that is on there, I just want to add a little bit of dimension to this. So I'm going to make a stroke kind of over in that direction. That way it's like, this is like almost like a little hill in front of this background here. It's very subtle. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and leave that. We'll add some blue in after. But now what we're going to do is add some of our trees. Now, this part takes a little bit of patience because you don't want to make too quick of movements here. You want to take your time, and you can make as many trees in here as you'd like. If you want to just put a couple, that's fine. If you want to paint even more than this, that's fine too. So I'm going to paint probably this amount. All right. Okay, now the way we want to do this is use your detail brush, something nice and thin, slightly dip into your black. And first you're going to paint a couple of trunks. So think about how many trees you want. And I'm going to go ahead and start right from the bottom and really lightly just put my trunk there. That way I know where to paint my branches. Do one more shorter one here. There we go. Paint a taller one there. And the key is to have a nice light touch. All right, so I'm going to start with this. I'm going to evaluate how I like it and decide whether I want to put some more trees in at this point. Okay, take a little bit of paint. Now, I like to start right from the top of the tree here, and I would recommend before you get started, take a look at how I kind of do this so you could sort of get the technique down. So start at the top. And of course we know with the pine trees we want to make it smaller. We know they're triangularly shaped. We want to have smaller at the top, wider at the bottom. And you're going to work downward with strokes that go outward just a little bit. I like to go back and forth. You want to make sure you have enough paint on your brush. Don't worry if it looks kind of funny at first. So I'm just going back and forth, bringing tiny, quick strokes outward and upward. You want to leave a little bit of space in between the branches because we'll put a little bit of snow in there. It's just back and forth. You can see how it's taken shape. We go. So I went right down into the snow. Now I'm just gonna make this a little bit taller. There we go. Okay. And there we go. So we're just gonna keep on doing that. Now it works better if your paint is not runny exactly, but you don't want it tacky. So I just did something I rarely do. I put a tiny bit of water in here and just mixed it up just because I need the paint to be a little bit loose. So if you find you're having a little bit of trouble, it's probably because you need to water down your paint just a tiny bit. Oh yep, that's much better. Yeah, it's worth it to just add a little teeny bit of water. That and trying not to overthink this. Having patience and not overthinking, which can be a little bit difficult. Okay, there we are. So you can see it takes a little bit of time, so you can evaluate whether or not you want to fill the whole thing in with trees, or if you just want to put a couple in. Go. Okay. All right. I think I may add maybe one more tree here, something kind of small. And there we go. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. I am now just gonna put a tiny bit of brush down here. So, tiny bit of the black paint, really light strokes. Just right at the bottom of some of those trees. Just adding a little bit of shrubbery. Okay, there we go. All right, so I love this part, putting the snow on the trees. So give your brush a good rinse. And you definitely want to dry it off, because if water drips in with the white and the black, you're just going to have some gray snow. And it's best with a nice contrast. All right, so you're going to get a little bit of white on here. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go back through these trees and kind of right in between the branches that you've created, sort of like so that it looks like it's resting right on top, you're going to go in with a little bit of white, and I use sort of a dabbing technique. So take a look, and you want to sort of space it out a little bit, but think of like snow resting on the branches. So you want a different stroke than what you used to create the branches. And you don't have to fill every single space. You can leave a little bit of negative space in there. And I bring the snow kind of right down to the ground. So it's sort of a blurred line right here where the tree and the snow meet. This part is a little quicker than making all those branches. So for this bigger tree, I'm really utilizing the side of my brush. Just dabbing some snow onto those branches. All right, a couple more to go. Okay, one more little one. Go. All right, and there we have it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my summer sky, that light blue, just a tiny bit, and just on a few of these snow piles on the branches, just on a few, just add a little highlight. Just gives a little extra dimension to your trees. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of dimension to the bottom of our snow here. Now you can do this with a brush, or if you have a tool like this, like a little scraper, you could also use like a butter knife and use the back side. I wouldn't use the ridged area. I'd use the back side, just to sort of put a little bit of paint on here. I'll show you the difference in how this can look. This adds a sharper kind of an angle. So I'm gonna follow this hill that I've created. Just gonna put a little bit. So you have a little bit on your brush, or excuse me, on your palette knife. And you just wipe it right onto the snow. You don't need too much. Now I'm gonna go in the other direction on this side, but it sort of adds like a little bit it makes it look like a shadow in a way. Okay, and there's that, and then you just rinse it and wipe it right off. Okay, but you could also get a similar effect with a paintbrush. I like using this knife better. I like the angles, but you can also do that with a brush. And now would be a good time, if you want, to go and touch up a little bit of your coloring here. So, for example, my pink was so runny, I need to add a little bit more, but you can see it'll brighten it right up. And this is up to you if you want to do this. And you can sort of see as your paint has dried, your sun becomes more visible. When it was first drying, I was noticing how it it didn't look that different from the surrounding colors, but now that it's dried, I can definitely see it. There we go. There, so that can look kind of nice to just freshen that up a little bit. There we go. There we are. You could also, if you want, use any of those colors. I'm going to take just a tiny bit of purple. Just put a little scrape. Little teeny bit over on the side. Just to bring some of that sunset color down. There we go. Might do a teeny weeny bit of pink. And there we have it. All right, so that is our project for February. I hope you enjoy yourselves making this one. I found this one to be kind of a meditative one. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or type your question below this video. Thank you.